So hey everyone, welcome back. It's Vanessa coming back in to do another Mental Health Monday video. As promised, I would like to start by giving a disclaimer and saying that I am not a medical provider, but that I am a mental health provider. I am a psychotherapist, and my interest in this work, one, I am doing an experiment on myself with the chosen GLP-1 medication for me, which is Tirzepatide, aka Zepbound. And the reason I'm doing this is because I work with women who have had bariatric surgeries as well as use GLP-1 medications as tools to save their lives in a lot of cases, treating diabetes and other sleep apnea as well as obesity. That being said, I'll go ahead and get on into this video. So this is going to be a lot more information and there will be some more depth to this particular video than there was for Wegovy, because there is so much more information for the Tirzepatide GLP-1 than there was for the semaglutide, per what I found on both websites. So the same as last week where I encouraged everyone to go visit Wegovy.com, I'm going to encourage that you visit Lily's website and go to the Zepbound section so that you can find the information directly through the source. I'm a teaching psychotherapist, so I don't just go off of my word, but I offer the information straight from the source. And in my day, we call that getting it straight from the horse's mouth. So that's what we're going to do today. So today we're talking about Zepbound and Tirzepatide and its connection to some mental health challenges. One of the things that I really appreciated about Lily's website versus Wegovy is that they specifically gave the instruction around suicidal behavior and ideation and encouraging ones to monitor for depression or suicidal thoughts and discontinue Zepbound if symptoms develop. I appreciated this because, as hard as it may be for some individuals to stop if they are noticing mental health symptoms, they are saying discontinue it. They're also encouraging you to reach out to your medical provider. And as I said, I am not a medical provider. I am a mental health provider. I am a psychotherapist. And so all of the information that's being shared here is for educational, informational purposes only. I always encourage do your due diligence, do your own research, but I also want to open up a conversation in the GLP-1 community around mental health so that we can destigmatize it and we can also start to normalize GLP-1 medications as well as mental health in general. So not saying that we're going to normalize these symptoms. So if these symptoms are showing up as a result of the use of a GLP-1 medication, then that is a whole other story. When I am working with clients, I encourage them to consider their mental health over the use of the GLP-1 in that case. And there are many conversations. It's so much more in-depth and complicated than just saying, hey, this medication is causing you some depressive or suicidal thoughts, and it's probably best that you just discontinue. There's a whole lot that comes with that. Helping someone to work through having to stop using the tool that has worked for them. And in therapy, we love the word tool, and we use lots of them. And Zepbound is one. To have someone have to start it and experience great success and results, and then to have to stop, it's a big deal. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. So as I said, this will be a lot more in depth because there was a lot more information, which I absolutely appreciated. But I thought it to be fitting to share this first because I did not see this on the Wegovy website. Once you do get on their website, it is going to be a good idea to come to not just the indications and use, but to come to patient counseling information. So once you are at the patient counseling information, it has all of the stuff that by now those of us who are using a GLP-1 medication are aware of. But what I want to get into today is specifically this right here. Lily's website is specifically showing that suicidal behavior and ideation is an issue with the use of GLP-1 medications, specifically Zepbound in this case, and it has been for some individuals. Now, in the first Mental Health Monday video that I did, I shared that individuals who have a diagnosis of depression and anxiety or ADHD or any other condition were excluded from the trial. So they do not have any information on folks that may already have a diagnosis of a mental health condition. So we are talking specifically about what symptoms or what side effects may show up for GLP-1 users, and in this case, Zepbound, possibly when they are using them. So here, Lily shares that suicidal behavior and ideation may be something that individuals experience, but that they advise patients to report any emergence. So something that is just coming up, like I've never had a depressive symptom in my life, which most humans have. It just doesn't look like clinical depression, but I haven't had it, any emergence or worsening of depression. If I'm experiencing them, any emergence or worsening of depression or suicidal thoughts or behaviors, and or any unusual changes in mood or behavior, that they are encouraging patients, if they experience suicidal thoughts or behaviors, they should stop taking Zepbound. And they don't just stop here, which is, again, different than Wegovy's website. They want you to click on that 5.9, which will take us right here. And they add additional information as it relates to suicidal behavior and ideation. So the website is saying suicidal behavior and ideation have been reported in clinical trials with other weight management products. Monitor patients treated with Zepbound for the emergence or worsening of depression, suicidal thoughts or behaviors, and or any unusual changes in mood or behavior. Again, discontinue Zepbound in patients who experience suicidal thoughts or behaviors. Avoid Zepbound in patients with a history of suicidal attempts or active suicidal ideation. So avoid the use of Zepbound in patients who have a history of suicidal attempts or active suicidal ideation. This is something that when I'm working with women who may have a diagnosis of clinical depression, we have to have a very serious conversation around the use of GLP-1 medications. When this is the case, a client will have to consider if they are not using a GLP-1 medication as a tool as of yet, if this is a possibility and or maybe the best option for them. So here's where therapy helps one to make a decision that will be sound and solid for them in their overall health. Because remember, as I mentioned in the previous video, what happens here shows up here, and what happens here shows up here. So it's important to pay attention to that. This is why it's also important to go onto the website and read these sections of information as it relates to mental health, suicidal behavior, and ideation. And to be fair, I will say, this is not something that is just experienced with GLP-1 medications. So for those who may say, that's why GLP-1s are not good and people should not use them, these same symptoms could occur in medications that are specific to other health conditions. So it's not just weight loss tools. It can also be one's heart medication, blood pressure medication, even antidepressants sometimes makes individuals experience suicidal ideation. I bring that as a point to be made because this is not an argument for individuals to say GLP-1 should not exist. It's just that for individuals who may be sensitive to certain synthesized medications, because this is a synthetic form of the GLP-1 that we all have naturally. And so any medication, which usually may have something of the real form and then also something synthetic in it. The synthetic part is what could possibly cause individuals who are sensitive to experience these symptoms. So I just like to put more depth to that and give more explanation around it so that there's a balanced view of what one may believe to be safe or unsafe for any medication. There were also counseling being provided to those who were in this trial. So I thought as a psychotherapist that this was an outstanding approach to doing a trial, because when I'm doing my research and I'm reading information and I'm looking at the trials and I am looking at the populations, the ages, the diversity, I am looking at all of this, which, as I mentioned that, interestingly, the diversity of the individuals who were in this trial, the mean age was 45 years, but they did it on the ages of individuals between 18 and 84. 68% were women. 71% were white. 11% were Asian. 9% were American Indian or Alaska Native. And 8% were Black or African American. And I will stop there to say that could be twofold. One, a lot of studies and research does not support information around Blacks or African Americans because of many things. One, the history of experimentation that has been done on African Americans and Black folks has put a bad taste in the mouth of Black people. And so when they hear words like research and trials and studies, it could be traumatizing. And so that could activate historical trauma, generational trauma. And so Blacks and African Americans tend to steer clear. Now, there are some individuals, and I'm assuming like with a weight loss study, because I've done a weight loss study before, that this may have been less threatening, but still it involved the injecting of a medication. And so that could be a possible reason. And then another part is that just in history in general, whites, as you see, is the higher number. And this isn't about race. This is about the research that was done on diverse populations within this population. So, and this population being the population that was being studied for Zepbound, Tirzepatide. I found that to be interesting, but it tracks because most studies that I see, this is the case. So it's interesting to, as a Black woman, do this experiment on myself to see what my response to a GLP-1 medication is, and also to work with women of color, African American women, Black women who are using GLP-1 medications and see what their experiences and side effects are as well. So this is all interesting. And for me, I am tracking this information. Also, can't forget the Hispanic and Latino community. They were a total of 48% of those who were in the trial as well. So that was pretty good to see. But okay, so I did want to cover that, and I am going to start to close this out. I do look forward to any conversation, questions, thoughts, all your views on this and perspectives, and what have you experienced, if anything, if you were on a semaglutide versus a tirzepatide, GLP-1, what is your experience in terms of possible mental health shifts? And remember, for me, when I'm working with women, I say you don't have to change anything today. Just let's talk about it. Let's think about everything that you're experiencing. Let's go through your thoughts. Experience the emotions of what's coming up for you that may cause you to not want to talk about it. Because if you have to talk about it, that means you have to think about it. And then there is usually an action step that follows that looks like, well, damn, either I have to call my doctor and I may have to stop my medication. They may tell me to, and I'm not doing that. I'm not ready. Not that this is a crutch or that you're becoming dependent on it, but grief kicks in because it could be a real sense of loss to have something like this as a tool that works and then to have it taken away. I hope that this video touched something within whoever needed it. And I look forward to sparking a conversation around this. And remember, we are here on this channel to build community. It's all good vibes. We are not judging anyone or each other. We are supporting each other. And we are doing this to remove the stigma around mental health, but also to normalize the use of GLP-1 medications as they are a tool. They are not a cheat way out. You are not cheating. You are not doing the hard work because, and I will come in and do another video on this. I want to close this video out. I look forward to your thoughts and your shares, and I will see you soon. All right.